Howdy y'all, Chip here. I am not a movie guy. I don't usually do well with needing to sit still and passively watch something. I do well with video games because I'm an active participant in the activity, and books feel active as I'm needing to focus on the act of reading and building the images and scenes in my head. TV and movies always fell into a quote-unquote worst of both worlds between games and books, where it's flashing images on a screen like video games, but I have no impact on the outcome like in books. I tend to lose focus unless it's a very engaging piece, but even then I'll often get a little stir crazy and feel the need to get up and move around or do something. But recently, I've been on this arc of trying to experience more art, for lack of a better term. I've mentioned it before on this channel, but I spent my first 3 decades as someone who only performs technical tasks and leaves all creativity for those with the mental wiring to do art. I would consume media, but I didn't draw, write music, take photographs, paint, or make videos. That was just not something I felt like I was built for. Now that I'm a bit older and hopefully a bit wiser, I now see there was a large part of my life I was just leaving on the table. I spent all this time working on my technical craft, but was missing out on the reason to work so hard, to enjoy the finer aspects of life. I'm on this little journey of trying to discover what those finer aspects are, which I want to bring into my own life. I've been working on this YouTube channel as a way to practice writing, as well as some video editing. I've recently bought a camera to get into photography and maybe even some videography. Hell, I may try to do some oil painting down the line, who knows? But why am I rambling about this? Well, since I've been exploring different mediums and doing a lot of research into these crafts, I've been getting recommended a lot of movie YouTube channels. People dissecting movies or trying to bring awareness to smaller pieces which wouldn't see the light of day without channels spreading that awareness. One movie that got discussed a lot a while back was an anime movie called 100 Meters. It's a movie about running. Do not worry, we will get back to that. A couple months back I visited one of my favorite places, Galveston, Texas. My wife and I participate in a series of 5Ks through a company called Run in Texas, which is titled the Six Pack. The idea is they host 5Ks at breweries across the hill country and the greater Houston area, and you run the race, then get to enjoy a few 9 a.m. pints after you finish the race. It's a great time had by all, and I've met some of my newfound best friends through these events over the last 6 years. The race at Galveston Island Brewing is easily one of our favorite races. My wife and I end up turning it into a long weekend to also just enjoy the island and beach town life. She went to PT school in Galveston, so there's a lot of history and memories on that island for her, and I just love being there myself. The race takes place on what is known as Seawall. It's a road which runs parallel to the shoreline of the Gulf, and it's easily the most scenic of all the races that we do. Between the coastal winds and the humidity, any ease that we get from it being a flat course is definitely negated. And I haven't been in my best running shape lately. At the beginning of the year, I started getting back into running after our second daughter was old enough that I felt I could sneak off for 30 minutes to get in a run. And that had been working out really great. I was putting in the miles consistently and noticing I was going further in the same amount of time as other runs. Then I got the shingles and all progress I gained in 3 months went out the window with a month of inactivity. The week before the race, I kind of set my expectations pretty low. I've gotten to be known as one of the faster runners in this community, and I've kind of gotten a bit of a target on my back when I attend these races. Of course, it's always in good fun and sportsmanship, but I was just not feeling like I'd be putting up much of a competition for my friends. I went on my handful of training runs and felt no more confidence than before. Then, the day of the race arrived. Again, these are not incredibly serious events. They're mainly for fun, the love of craft beer, and running with a little competition thrown in the mix. But there's always something about lining up at the start that does something to me. My senses outside of sight kind of dull a bit. I get a bit of tunnel vision. The gun fires, and we take off. I'm feeling kind of good. I start passing people as we make our way to Seawall to do the long back and forth run. Back at the lineup, I had situated myself midway back since I didn't feel very confident, but I was passing a lot of people. I started seeing some of my friends as I'd pass by. I was really moving. Before the turnaround, I saw one of my real rivalry buddies. Let's call him Barry, since, well, his name is Barry. I don't know what it was, but I caught up to him within the first mile, but I just could not pass him. We hit the turnaround and the realization hit me. I'm gassed. I went way too hard out of the gate, and passing all those people, I might not have enough in the tank to get back without walking. Slowly, over the next half mile, Barry inched further away. It took everything I had to keep him within 20 to 30 feet of me. And then I had this little voice in my head just whispering, there's no shame in walking. It's just a beer 5K. And it's always in those moments of doubt. I don't know what it is, but it's when you could take that easy way out. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just stubborn. There's this phenomenon that they show over and over again in that 100 Meters movie. It's this tunnel vision euphoria the characters experience when they enter this flow-like state and all fades away except the sole goal of crossing that finish line as fast as possible. That flow-like state is the only way I could describe how I feel in these moments. I felt it when I was a distance swimmer in high school swim meets. I felt it during serious bouts of training. And yes, I feel it when I race these silly little brewery runs with these little rivalries. Over the next mile, I grit my teeth and I closed that gap. I was within 2 to 3 feet of Barry when we got to the street intersecting with seawall that leads back to the brewery. Only a 1/10 of a mile to go, and I'm gonna do this. 3 miles of feeling like I could barely do this, all to culminate in that sweet, sweet feeling of earned victory. I'm gonna pass Barry before that finish line, and I'm gonna show myself that I need to quit giving myself such a hard time, and I'm gonna start believing in myself. And then this motherfucker stops once he crosses the street and walks the rest of the way! Yeah, Barry's like 65 and he had knee surgery late last year. He's still not back to his full running capacity. But he held a 7:15 pace for 3 miles, so I'm proud of him. Kinda took the wind out of my sails of victory, though. Anyway, you should go watch 100 Meters if you haven't. I saw it on Netflix a few months ago, and I think it's still there. That's all I've got for this week. Like the video if you liked it. Ignore all buttons if you didn't. And until next time, keep it tuned in.